Hello everybody! Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and everything else you might be celebrating this winter, North or South Hemisphere. This is a short list of my favorite winter holiday games I like to play every winter. Not all of them all the time, but at least a couple of them each winter holiday. And though I don't say Christmas because they are not just for that. They are basically for the second half of December up to the first half of January. A couple of them I started playing for this time of the year during my teen years, but I didn't start thinking of them as winter holiday games till the end of the 90s, and a bit more after that. Reason being, I was a uni student at the time, usually thousands of miles away from home and alone, and they just stuck with me playing them every time during the break from studies. And then some. Okay, here we go in reverse order. Number 7. Hero Quest for the Atari ST. An adaptation of the board game. This is basically a turn-based linear light RPG with good music, good graphics, and yes, good gameplay. I started playing it while I still had my Atari computers, and then restarted years later when I got into emulation for the Atari ST. Something about this game yells to me winter holidays, and I'm fine with that. Number 6. Blade Runner for the PC, one of the newer games of the list. I started it many times over the years, played from anything to few minutes to few hours, but always without finishing it. The main reason behind that is that while this game has replayability, I'm afraid to play it to completion even for one of the endings, as that would perhaps take away from the experience. Makes sense or not? I don't know. I love the movie, my favorite movie of all time, and this is a great game inspired by it, 100% worth playing, even more so now. Number 5. Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge for the Atari ST, and no, I don't know if I said that correctly. A game which I remember first getting it during summer of 1990 something. 1, 0, 2, something like that, whenever the game was released. And quickly becoming one of my all-time favorite racing games. A couple of days ago, well, that's what it felt like, it had 2 more sequels. It's not perfect, and its sequels are the superior games in every aspect. But for me, nothing can replace the first in the series. I don't remember how it made the jump from a summer game to this list, but it did. Number 4. Age of Empires series for the PC. I never liked these games, from the very first one to the last ones, Age of Empires 3 and Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, the last ones I actually played, I mean. Yet I found myself in what felt every year around Christmas time to go to the shops and buy the latest game in the series. Open the very cardboard Microsoft box, remove the tech trees and manual, and just enjoy playing the game for a few hours. Till the next game is released. I don't know why. And yes, I do like RTS games. Number 3. Ignition for the PC. In general, I rarely liked top-down racing games. Perhaps Supercars series and 1 or 2 arcade games. The main reason was always the by design difficulty of seeing what is ahead. Yet Ignition, without solving this problem, managed to grab me since day one in the late 90s. Why? No idea. Why do I play it in particular every winter? No idea. But I do like this game. Number 2. Star Trek The Next Generation, Birth of the Federation, for the PC. One of the longest titles for a video game, though probably not the longest. A game which is way up in my favorite games of all time. A game which I play at least every month since the day it was released back in around the summer of 1999. A game which I boxed more times than any other game, as the CD basically stopped working. Yet for some weird reason I have it connected to this time of the year. Makes no sense, but I love it. And yes, I know the reviews it has were bad. Well, at least from the professional reviewers. But I stopped caring for reviews back in the early 90s. Most of reviewers don't know what they are talking about, and I'm being very nice because it is Christmas. Number 1. Pod, aka Planet of Death, for the PC, a very Christmassy title. A game which might surprise people to see on such a list. After all, unlike the rest of the games in this list, it is hardly a Christmas game. LOL. Yes, I said that. This, as some of you might know, is my favorite racing game of all time. Something about the setting, the sound design, the vehicle handling, the lack of banding just made me fall in love with it all the way back in the late 80s. Now, you might be wondering, how is that possible? The game was released in 1997. I wish I could answer that. All I know is that I remember visiting a friend of mine who lived far from our place every few months or so. There, among the other toys, and his terrific Amstrad CPC 6128, he had some small toy cars he brought from the States. A couple of them looked like they came out from the 1997 game, even though it was still the 1980s. I really liked them. And I remember more than once returning home very late, way past midnight, and sitting down and playing Pod. Only that this was in the early 90s. Yes, it still doesn't make any sense. No matter what reason behind this, I love this game, and no matter what, it is always one of the games I almost always play during this time of the year. I say almost because, like Blade Runner, it is a game which for years didn't run properly on more modern Windows systems, till GOG brought it on board. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have or had a happy Christmas and all the rest. Bye bye.